This is something that we don't give men enough credit for, that anytime there is overflowing of emotion, usually what the male role is to absorb that.
You're the bucket that scoops it up.
Absolutely. So you hold it for everyone around you.
Women are the ones walking around on eggshells in a relationship the vast majority of the time, not men.
But there is something that I think does not get a lot of recognition, and that is the mental load that men carry. This mental load I like to call the emotional diffuser. The emotional diffuser is the person in the relationship whose job it is to diffuse every heightened emotional state.
But you would talk to your friends. You would call your friends, I guarantee you, and talk about fucking LeBron or talk about Jokic or some sporting event, for an hour, for 2 hours. But you can't talk to your wife? You can't talk to your girlfriend? Okay. We have another example of men all of a sudden using language that it's just female coded. You know what I mean? Like it's things that are made specifically, the language, the scenario is specifically made for women, right? Anybody could, in theory, it could apply to anybody. Don't get me wrong. But it overwhelmingly applies to women. Like 99, 95% of the time, it applies to women. This language specifically surrounding the mental load. Shout out to my girl Paige, who been working hard night and day to kind of push the idea of the mental load and to get people on board and understanding it. But my wife talked about the mental load 15 years ago. You know what I mean? With me, like with my kids and stuff. She was like, yeah, like I do more than you. I'm like I plan everything. I pay all the bills, like physically, not like financially, but she was like, I pay all the bills. I plan everything. I worry about, I'm like, okay, we need groceries, clothes, da, da, da. Like I'm doing all of this stuff. And I was just like, yeah, you're right. But this is something that, again, isn't exclusive to women, but predominantly applies to women. So when we say the term, we're typically talking about women, right? I would love to know though, what mental load do men have? As a man, I don't feel like I have I don't feel like I have much of a mental load. And yeah, well, I'll get into it more. I don't think men, if men actually had a mental load in the relationship, I'll tell you what men's mental load typically in a relationship is him caring about himself. And men can't even do that. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's laughable to assume that men actually have like a responsibility in a relationship to take care of anybody mentally or emotionally. I don't see where that's happening. Most of the time, like women are, to me, women are looking for men to take care of themselves. Women are looking for men to take care of themselves. If a woman can find a man that can take care of himself, and I mean emotionally, take care of himself, regulate himself emotionally, right? Make sure no matter what happens throughout his day at work or in the world, when he comes home, he shows up for his family emotionally, physically, he's present, things of that nature. Women are looking for those men at this point, I think, over any other type of man, because I don't think the expectation for a woman is to find a man that can take care of her emotionally. I think most women have tempered their expectations to the point to where they would just be like head over heels for a man that can take care of himself, regulate himself, right? So when we talk about the mental load of men, I like literally laugh. Like I laughed out loud when I saw this video, because I was like, what? Where the fuck is this happening?
This is something that we don't give men enough credit for, that anytime there is overflowing of emotion, usually what the male role is to absorb that.
You're the bucket that scoops it up.
Absolutely. So you hold it for everyone around you.
What? Since when? Since when have men been expected to hold the butt? Since when? Men holding no, men holding their own feelings. They repress their feelings. They don't hold other people's emotions for them, though.
Everyone around you. If you go to a funeral, what you'll see, and we see this in media all the time, right? A man will be standing and somebody else, including another man, will be crying and we're holding them. There's a ton of emotional containment that men do. It's very taxing. One of the biggest drains of willpower is emotional suppression. I think that women will do a lot of emotional support in terms of like being emotionally supportive, hearing you out, listening to your problems. And what men do in relationships that I don't think we give them credit for, this is very new research, is holding the emotions for everybody around.
What research? I have to cite your sources on that one. What research says that men hold everybody's emotions in? We don't. We don't. Men have a harder, we hold our own emotions in. He is speaking to that right now. That is unhealthy. Women are more expressive. They know they got to get the shit out, right? Women also repress their feelings. Like women, first of all, women repress their feelings all the time. That's the thing. Like men think that women are like an open book, but women are anything but that. You don't really know how disappointed your woman is with you the majority of the time. You don't really know how little your woman respects you the majority of the time. You don't really know how little your woman likes you the majority of the time. You don't know. She's holding in a lot. Like women get sick from that shit. Where are all of these examples of men getting sick from holding in like you would, there would be a physical manifestation represented in men, showing up in men, if men were the ones holding all the emotional baggage and doing all the emotional labor in a relationship, like this fucking idiot's lying about. But there's plenty of examples of women suffering in silence because they have to hold in everything that, is going on in that household amongst, the man and the children and herself. Women are the ones walking around on eggshells in a relationship the vast majority of the time, not men. Look at how men are trying to co-opt terms specifically made for women. I mean, I'm not going to lie, mental load, you can say it applies to both parties, but men do not bear the brunt of the mental load in the vast majority of relationships.
Women often talk about the mental load that they take on in a relationship. And this usually refers to the load that they carry mentally when it comes to taking care of household chores. And sometimes it can be taking care of the kids. So it isn't just the act of doing, it's not just the stuff they have to do, which often they have to do more of. It's also keeping a running list in their mind, everything that needs to get done. And no doubt there is a lot of validity to this because unfortunately there are a lot of men who expect women to do things for them. That is what their expectation is in the relationship.
Most men expect women to do pretty much everything that he doesn't want to do. That's the expectation in the vast majority of relationships.
But there is something that I think does not get a lot of recognition, and that is the mental load that men carry in a relationship.
The reason why that doesn't get a lot of recognition is because men don't carry a mental load. We don't, not one of any significance or importance, to be honest with you.
Relationship. This mental load I like to call the emotional diffuser. The emotional diffuser is the person in the relationship whose job it is to diffuse every heightened emotional state. Now,
so men are tasked with this?
State. Now, obviously, this does not occur in every relationship, just like it doesn't occur in every relationship that the man is not the one taking account for the things that need to be done in the house. I'm not suggesting that this happens all the time, but I think this is a problem that men experience that they don't talk about. One, because men are not good at sharing what they're experiencing, and two, because often when they express this in the relationship, it can be flipped back on them as if it is their problem. So what do I mean by emotional diffusion?
So the reason why it's being flipped back on the man. I'm so glad he said that, right? Men can't be the emotional diffuser in a relationship the way that he is describing it, when things get heightened, because the vast majority of the time, the reason the woman is heightened is because of the man. So he can't be the one to calm her down, right? Like it's like the whole, like, we know you can't tell your woman to calm down. Why would you tell your woman to calm down when you are the one who is upsetting her? Calm down. Why would she calm down? That's just going to make her more irate. The person that is actively gaslighting her can't be the person that's trying to also diffuse the situation. The way to defuse a situation is to stop the gaslighting. But men will continue to gaslight. So men are not the diffusers of a relationship, but men try to tone police women because the women have a legitimate reason to be heightened and the men don't want to correct themselves. So they try to calm down, calm down. No, it's okay, calm down. But you got her to that place. Like, what the fuck?
Fusion. This is when one person in the relationship, in this example, the woman, does not know how to regulate her own emotions. And so the job to regulate all of the emotions in the relationship becomes the man's job. Now,
When is this ever the case? What are y'all talking about? You're literally just stealing the woman's flow. You're just stealing, you stealing a whole style, a whole flow, everything. Like Soldier Boy said, my whole fucking flow. You stealing a whole fucking flow. This is something that everybody knows. Everybody that's not a fucking liar. Everybody knows this is a thing that is pretty much 100% applicable to women, not men. Pretty much.
this is different than regular supporting. Obviously, in any relationship, we should be supporting each other if we're emotional, if we're upset, and that is our job for both people to support each other when we're having a difficult time. But in this sort of relationship, the man has the sole responsibility to diffuse all negative emotion for the woman. The woman comes to him with all of her upset, her anxiety, her fears, her worries. But she does not take the responsibility to regulate the emotions herself. So she comes to him, he tries his best to listen, to understand, but that isn't enough. She also wants him to make her anxiety and fears and negative emotion go away. So he is not just there to support, he actually has to do the fixing for the emotion. And for a woman who's particularly bad at regulating her emotions, this can be a weekly, sometimes daily occurrence. So the man
You can't fix an emotion. That's how I already know you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And also, again, no, this is not something that is commonly practiced in relationships. And any man that thinks that you are like Superman for your woman, you're fucking lying to yourself. Stop lying. Like, you guys are so weird, man. You got men are so strange at how easily you guys just take terms, take situations, and flip them around. Just pure fucking Darvo all day long. Reverse, reverse, reverse. Now it's men. Men are the victims. I mean, we really have to hold the emotional water in a relationship. We're a bucket. No, bro. We're a thimble. We don't hold shit. You get a drop out of us. That's it.
daily occurrence. So the man has to stay stoic. He cannot have emotions of himself. He cannot even express how he feels about this constant barrage of emotional regulation because in the relationship, it is his job to do all of this work. And of
You know, another thing that is so goofy about what he's saying, I just got done watching the Love is Blind, the whatever, the final episodes or whatever. But like in one of the episodes, one of the women, she was with, it was Megan, this woman named Megan. The man's name was Andy. Megan was pleading with Andy to like talk to her, just like she was just like, yeah, like when you come home, you don't talk to me. And he was like, oh, I'm tired. And she was like, "Yeah, so am I. But you can't talk to me. Like, we need to talk. I need stimulation. I need somebody to speak to. This is also something that I heard my wife tell me. She needed somebody to talk to. She told me that a long time ago. And I used the same excuse. I was like, oh, I'm tired or whatever. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was you didn't want to do any of the emotional labor in the relationship. So you only talked when you wanted to talk. You would tell her about your day if you wanted to, but most of the time you wouldn't. And it wasn't like I was hiding my work from my wife. Like I would talk to her about my day. Like I would go home and complain, oh man, today my manager's being such an asshole. When I had a great day, I'd be like, oh man, I had a great day today. I definitely want to talk to her. But when I just had like, just like a regular day or maybe a couple things happen here or there, for the most part, I wouldn't want to say anything to her. But and it wasn't because it wasn't because I didn't want to talk about my day. It was more I didn't want her to talk about her day. That took emotional labor. Like me talking about my day was also emotional labor, but then I was gonna have to have a conversation. I was gonna have to hold a conversation. And Megan was like to Andy, yo, I just want you to talk to me more. And he was like, oh, I can't, I'm just too tired. But you would talk to your friends. You would call your friends, I guarantee you, and talk about fucking LeBron or talk about fucking Jokic or some stupid ass shit, some sporting event, some bullshit for an hour, for 2 hours. But you can't talk to your wife? You can't talk to your girlfriend? Okay. That is common. That's what's really going on. The hell is this?
To do all of this work. And of course, because in this scenario, the woman is the one who's expressing all the emotion, the man does not feel he is allowed to express emotion, because oftentimes if he does, that may elicit an emotion from the woman, and now the conversation has to refocus back on her emotions. And I think this may be more common than people give credit for. Men often feel like they have to be the stoic bearers of everyone else's emotions.
Men need to be stoic because they don't want to be vulnerable, because they perceive vulnerability as weakness. And they want to be able to emotionally manipulate their woman, so they don't want to tell the women too much about them. That's what it is. They don't want to reveal too much about themselves.
To stand there and sit there and just take the barrage of emotions. And again, in a healthy relationship, of course, it is a man's responsibility, is anyone's responsibility, to listen and be supportive of their partner. But in no relationship should it be the expectation that the other person is responsible for not only listening to, but managing and eliminating all negative emotions. This is impossible. So I'm curious if there's any men out there who have experienced this in relationships, where they feel like no matter what they do, it's never enough. There's a constant feeling of having to listen, to manage, to fix, when the other person is not taking full responsibility to take care of their own emotions. Now,
that is literally women. That is literally what women say about men. Literally, like verbatim. You just stole that from a woman and regurgitated it. This is disgusting. You literally took that from a woman. And I was going to say before the last part, I've experienced that before. I've experienced feeling like whatever I did wasn't. I remember talking to my wife one time, and I was like, I'm starting to feel like I'm never going to be enough. Like, I don't think I'm good enough. And it wasn't like I was saying it in a spiteful way. I didn't mean it in that way. I didn't say it in that way. I don't even think she took it in that way. Cause it wasn't like in like an argument or something like that. Like I just really was just like listening to what she expected of me. And I was just like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, that sounds like a lot. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I felt like in that moment. And it wasn't like what she was asking me for was unreasonable. That's what I want to make clear. It wasn't like she was asking me to do anything that she wasn't doing for me. She was asking for me. She wasn't even asking for me to do everything that she does for me. She was just like, do more. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. I didn't have the tools to do that. That's crazy. That's why this is so weird, listening to a man say the thing that I know is what most women are experiencing, not most men. Most men aren't experiencing this. Most men do feel inept. Most men do feel like they're not doing enough, but that's because we're not doing enough. I could give plenty of examples. Women ask men to show up more, to be more present, to spend more time with them. And the men go, well, how much time should I spend with you? Like, give me an hour, as opposed to looking at it more like it's a feeling. And to you guys, and to most men, to us, we feel like it's not rational, right? Because, and I talked about this before, men are literal, not logical. So we need like a real number because that's a literal thing. We need like 2 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours and 27 minutes a day, right? As opposed to logic, because logic is takes emotions. You need to feel like that other person is showing up for you. You need to essentially, as the man in this scenario, you need to convince the woman that you are showing up for her. The way to do that is to show up for her. You know what I mean? Like she will know when she's full, but we don't know. She doesn't even know the exact amount of time because also it's not even the amount of time you spend, it's the quality of time you spend. Is when you spend time with her, is it of high quality? Are you locked in? I remember talking to a guy recently. Shout out to the Waving the Red Flag podcast. But we had a conversation and he was talking about how this woman that he knew, she wanted him to like be like responsive throughout the day. Wanted him to be more responsive throughout the day. And he couldn't do that because he was like at work and stuff. And he said, though, when I'm with her, I give her the same attention that I give, my work or whatever task is at hand. And when he said that, I was like, okay, I respect that. Like I could respect that. Whereas a lot of men, when they're with their woman, they're sitting back like this. Huh? Oh, uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Sheila said that. Wow. Like you're not really there. You're not really present. He was like, no, I put my phone down and I'm locked in. I'm looking, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm locked in. I leave my phone, like it's not even around. I'm talking to her. And I was like, yeah, because that quality of time, it could feel like 3 hours with this man. Like an hour with this man is like 3 hours with this man. And maybe not, and maybe this man you never get full. You know what I mean? So I understood that. I was like, all right, cool. So it's not just the quantity, it's the quality time, right? That's what we talk about, quality time together. It's not quantity time together, it's quality time together, right? Not how much time, it's how good is the time we spend together. Cool. So I understand that now. Be locked in, be more attentive, yada, yada, yada. Then lastly, it's funny that he's talking about that with women, but what about who do the kids run to do the emotional labor in the household? Yeah, it ain't the man, it's the woman. It ain't the father, it's the mother the vast majority of the time. So you expect me to believe that the kids feel more safe with the mother. The husband feels more safe with the mother, but the mother needs but the mother's running to the father where? For what? Nobody likes you, bro. Nobody came to see you, Otis. Y'all got to stop lying about this.